Hey, first, thanks for sharing the details about your current stage. From what you told me, you are building at MVP stage, raising pre-seed and aiming somewhere around 250K, right? So that's exactly the type of founders I usually work with. And honestly, in most cases, the issue isn't the startup, it's actually structure. What I've seen over and over again is this: founders are building and raising at the same time, but there's no clear fundraising structure and system behind it. So conversations with investors stall, investors say interesting, but they don't move, or replies are inconsistent. That's usually where things break down. So let me walk you through how I help with that. Just so you know who you're hearing from, I helped pre-seed founders raise over 2 million in checks and commitments using the structure. I worked closely with active angels in the UK, let me show you. So including investors connected to Dragon's Den and with early stage funds like CFS Capital, Tenity VCs, as well as GACs. I also expanded into the US and EU market, you can see based on the amount of my followers. And I'm also supporting this startup as an investor relations associate, where we already secured 1.5 in commitments. And I raised myself. When I started, I had no network and no fundraising background. I learned through doing, including raising with support from Virgin Startup Group in 2023. So everything I'm sharing here comes from being in the room, having the conversations, and figuring it out firsthand. So the pattern is usually similar. Investors aren't replying consistently. DEX feels okay, but maybe not strong enough. Data room exists, but isn't structured the way investors review deals. Outreach feels random, and because of that, momentum is slow. When we fix structure, everything changes. So, for example, here's Amitam. We adjusted his targeting and pipeline. He raised 350K in 3 months. Here's Sunny. We rebuilt his pitch and outreach, secured 2 checks in 36 days. Here's Joan. We implemented a structured strategy, and he secured 200K commitment. And here's also Emmanuel. We refined positioning, got his first angel check. So here's what happens in your first 24 hours inside. First, you complete a short onboarding, so I understand exactly where you are in your race. Then you get a clear execution plan, what to fix first, what to ignore, and what actually moves the round forward. You unlock all templates, pitch deck structure, data room framework, outreach scripts, CRM system, and you start phase 1, fixing positioning and narrative before you speak to more investors. So within a day, you're not guessing anymore. You know exactly what to work on. So here's how the system works. Everything follows 4 phases. In phase 1, which is foundation, before we even talk about outreach, we fix the base. We work on positioning, traction framing, core narrative, why now clarity, cap table structure, and investor red flags. You also get a structured readiness audit and a database of investor objections with responses. This is where most founders realize what was actually missing. And then phase 2, investors' assets. Then we rebuild your materials properly, pitch deck structured how angels review deals, due diligence ready data room, clear evaluation logic, competitive positioning, and exit narrative. So this is where investors start taking conversations more seriously. And then phase 3, pipeline and outreach. Then we rebuild momentum, targeted investor list, CRM tracking, structured outreach scripts, follow-up timing, and call preparation framework. You know how to contact, what to say, when to follow up, no more guessing. And then phase 5, which is very important, closing. Then we handle the part founders usually feel least confident about: raise amount strategy, valuation, closing conversation structure, negotiation guidance, soft commitment tracking. You learn how to move investors from interest to conversation and then to commitment. That's where rounds start moving. And then it's support structure. So inside you also get weekly live group calls, direct async support one-on-one with me, templates, scripts, and course, and a community of founders raising at similar stages. So now you're not figuring this out alone, and this structure is exactly what helped Amitam adjust his targeting and raise 350K in 3 months, for Sunny secured 2 checks in 36 days after rebuilding his pitch deck, for Joan to secure a 200K commitment after implementing a clear strategy, and for Emmanuel land his first angel check after refining positioning. And here's what founders say. Here's what more founders say. Here's also other founders' feedback, where Yeti and Ina rebuilt their decks and immediately improved investor conversations. William clarified his narrative and saw outreach start converting. So now think about what that actually means for you. When you have this level of structure in place, investor conversations become more focused. Your deck answers questions before they are asked. Outreach feels intentional instead of random. You know what to fix and in what order. This usually the difference between interesting, keep me posted, and let's move this forward. And because I've been in your position before, I made sure it's simple and accessible. So access is $89 per month. You can cancel anytime. There's also a 14-day money-back guarantee. If it's not a fit, you message me, I refund you. That's it. So if this makes sense based on where you are right now, just go back to our chat on LinkedIn and message me, I'm in, and I will walk you through the next steps personally.